Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. We are here to do the December daily-ish folio mini album, whatever I come up with, project. So everyone does their December dailies differently. I will not be working on mine daily. That's just overwhelming, and crafting is supposed to be fun. So I'm just going to work on it when I want to. You are going to see a lot of elements that look like other crafters, mainly Rosa Kelly, Kathy Orta King, Kimmy, who Salty Bee Scrappers. You're going to see some stuff that, Brittany taught me. So you're going to see elements from everyone that I love to watch, but this is just me on the fly. And so I would suggest on the recorded videos, you may want to watch the video first before you work along, or actually what I can do is just put in the description box if something didn't work, and then you can, read it before you do it. So here's what I want to do. I asked you guys if you wanted a folio, a mini album, or like a TN, and it actually was, the votes were equal. So we're going to do all three. In my mind it works, on paper it works, but we're going to see in reality. What I feel like we're going to do is on the left side, a folio, in the middle, a mini album, and spaces for TN, which is the Traveler's Notebook, which, we use the elastic cording. That's what that picture is there. And then maybe on this side, some type of waterfall or additional folio with a waterfall. And I saw somewhere someone did a vertical and a horizontal waterfall on the same page. So I thought that was super cool. So I'm going to attempt that eventually. I think this video is just going to be the structure to see if it works. Again, I have no idea. I drew it out on a paper. We're going to find out. So I wanted to save paper, and so I chose my page sizes are going to be, for the mini album part, they're going to be 7.5 by 5. So that way you can just use a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and we'll get to that eventually. But for right now, I'm just doing the chipboard cover, so hopefully this works. What I have cut was 2 pieces at 5.5 by, I want to say 8, but let me measure that. Yeah. Let me make sure these are even. Okay, so 5.5 by 8, 2 pieces at 1 by 8, and 1 piece which is 7.5 by, should be 8. Yep, 7.5 by 8. And then I took 2 sheets of black cardstock. You need a really good black cardstock, or I guess any color cardstock that you want to use for your outside of your album, but you need a really strong cardstock. This is what I'm using. This is a linen paper. I think this is basil, however you say it. So there's no cracks or anything like that when you start to fold and wrap it around your chipboard. My chipboard is just black chipboard from Amazon. I tend to like the black chipboard better because sometimes when you're making boxes, you don't have to cover your edge because it's already black. So that's really what I bought it for. And you're going to need your regular tools, your paper trimmer, your score tape, your varnishing tools, that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and connect my 2 12 by 12 sheets of paper together. I use 3/8 inch score tape. You can use 1/4 inch if you want. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to actually give myself a little scoring guide to lay my chipboard. Let me put this right back on here. I'm going to cut my paper down to 12 by 10, if I can find my paper trimmer. I'm going to cut it 12 by 10. That way I don't have a lot of access while I'm trying to wrap it. Some people like the access, some don't. It's just your preference. Right now I don't want it. Okay. What I'm going to do is score an inch on the 10-inch side. And score an inch on the top and the bottom. I'm still getting used to this new paper trimmer, or scoreboard I should say. This is the Stampin' Up! Scoreboard. Okay. And I'm going to flip it around and do the same thing. Score it at an inch. Okay. And then on my other piece before I connect it. You can do it after you connect it. I usually forget to do this part until after I've already connected it. And then it's annoying, but today I remembered, so that's always a good way to start off. Okay. That just gives me the top and bottom line to align my chipboard, which makes it a little easier. And now I'm going to go ahead and connect my 2 pages. So just go ahead and line it up. And varnish. Honey, you can play your game loud. You don't have to turn it all the way off. Oh, okay. Alright. So now, because I kind of want it to be in a folio size, we're going to put that larger piece of chipboard in the middle. Alright, so just make sure your 8-inch piece is going up and down. This is the 7.5 by 8-inch, so it should fit in between your lines perfectly. And it does. I'm using my 1-inch score tape. I like to score tape and glue my chipboard pieces to my cover. I know that's excessive, but that's what makes me feel comfortable, so that's what I'm going to do. Probably not my camera. Okay. I'm just going to go around the edges. Okay, you can go around the edges, and actually I'm going to go ahead and go around the edges of all of my chipboards pieces. And so you can just go ahead and pause the video and put your score tape on. Okay, so I got all my pieces. Now on my 1-inch pieces, my 1-inch score tape is a little bit bigger than 1 inch, and so I didn't want to deal with overhang issues, and so I just used my 3/8 of an inch score tape. Okay, I also pulled out my 1/8 of an inch score tape. You'll need that if you do your covers like I do. Okay, so again, we're going to take our big pieces, make sure our 8-inch side is correct. Yep, this way. So I'm going to put my 7.5 by 8-inch directly in the middle. I don't think I burnished. Okay. If you burnish well enough, you should be able to pick up your backings at any point, and it comes off easily. Okay, so make sure there's no overhang. There we go. I'm taking my glue. I use Barely Arts glue because I ran out of art glitter glue and it's the winter time. To me, they both work the exact same. Okay, so I'm just putting a little bit of glue, and I'm going to put this as best as I can in the middle. Okay, and I'm going to varnish that. I'm going to flip it over Now, what I'm going to do, and this is your preference, I like to leave 1/8 of an inch and a half, if that makes sense. I don't know what that measurement is, 1/8 of an inch plus 1/2 of an eighth of an inch. I don't know what that measurement is, but that's what I like to leave in between my spines. Some people do just 1/8 of an inch. Some people do 1/4 of an inch. I found 1/8 of an inch is not enough, and I found, for my preference, 1/4 of an inch is too much. So what I do is I lay down my 1/8 of an inch score tape, and then I peel it, and I lay another 1/8 of an inch down, but I overlap. So an 1/8 of an inch score tape is really hard to work with, but what else? That's just what I found that I like. Again, do whatever measurement makes you happy. Some people leave their backing on, especially if they're using the red line tape, to give it some extra stability. I'm always afraid it's going to fall off, so I just take mine off. It's fine. Again, you'll see a million tutorials, and everybody has their own thing. I've probably changed my preference like 3 or 4 or 5 times in the last 10 years, and so it's just do you. Okay. And you know, you could honestly do 1/4 of an inch and then just kind of put your pieces halfway in, but I didn't think of that until just now. And I don't have 1/4 of an inch. That's usually why I do this. Alright, so now I'm going to take this off, make sure there's no overhang, put some glue down that little piece. And yes, I am doing this really fast because there's, like I said, I have a million tutorials and other people have a million tutorials on, you know, making your chipboard spine, your chipboard cover. Okay, so there's that. That's probably a little bit more space than I want, but that's okay. It's not quite 1/4 of an inch, but it's almost there. And you don't want your, because you don't want your book to tear down that side, and you don't want your book to be tight, you know, to where you can't open and close it properly, then it tears on the chipboard piece. So it's kind of a guessing game. All right. Okay, so just repeat the same, and for the other 2 pieces. So I put the 1/8 inch piece on either side, and then I'm going to go through and do that second 1/8 of an inch piece. Okay, so there's that. And peel that piece off, and then I'm going to come in with these 2 pieces on the side, like so. So I'll just show you this one, and the other one I'll probably just do off camera. I'm trying to keep this kind of short, but I'm very long-winded, and I know some of you really like to see it in real time, but I know I've been pausing, so I like to cater to all skill levels. So obviously if you know how to do this, you're just going to fast forward to this part, which is cool. That's what it's there for. Alright, so I'm going to line these 2 up, and I'm going to come in here, make sure it's lined up, get that down. Okay. And same thing for the other side. I'm just going to peel the backing off, come in and put it down. Okay, glued, ready to put it down. I'm weird because for me, in order for me to put stuff on a straight line, I have to have it like wonky. As you can see, my paper's not straight up and down, it's tilted sideways. So, works though. Okay, so there you have it. So now it is going to fold up like so. Haha, it did work. I'm so excited. Okay. I love when things work out from paper to reality. Okay. So now what we need to do is go ahead and miter our corners. Oops. Is miter our corners and keep it moving. Now you only need 1 inch on all 4 sides. So this side here is a little bit more than 1 inch. You can either cut it down or leave it. It's not going to matter. So it's up to you. And if you want to cut it down to the inch, just make sure you have put it in your paper trimmer to where the it's 1 inch from the side. But like I said, it doesn't really matter. But here you go. Okay, so now we need to go ahead and miter our corners and train our paper edges. There's a couple different methods you can use to miter your corners. You can use the whole, you just cut a square off the sides. You can put something up against it and cut it. This is a trick that I saw yesterday actually. It kind of wastes your score tape, but to get that exact 1/8 of an inch, what somebody did was took a piece of score tape 1/8 of an inch and put it on the diagonal. So I'm going to see how I like that. I'm going to find out. Let me find my other, here we go. So we're just going to train our paper first. And that just means kind of taking your bone folder or scoring tool, going over those score lines and just kind of showing your paper what it's about to do. So you don't have any cracks or anything like that. And again, there's a million videos. If your paper cracks, it's not a huge deal. Just put some like wet glue on it, let it completely dry, and it will adhere back together. Okay. Our paper's trained. Now you can do a paper trimmer or you can do scissors, or basically you're just coming up this diagonal like that. Oh look, I can actually peel my tape up because I didn't varnish it. So just gonna cut up the diagonal and the diagonal this way. Okay, that's just too much for me. So it works, it's too much for me. You can also do your old, put this on the diagonal and draw a pencil mark. However you want to do it. For me, I usually just eyeball it. It's a lot faster. And if you miss that corner, all you have to do is put in a little piece of paper or a little element there and nobody will know the difference. I like to seal down my long sides first and then my short sides. It doesn't matter. I'm going to use my 3/8 of an inch score tape. Where is it at? Guess I could have put the tape on before I mitered. Doesn't matter. This little pink tool that I'm using is called Little Chiseler. I don't know if you can see it. I got it from Connie, who is 2G's Designs in West End, North Carolina. She has her own little craft store, and she hosts crops pretty much every day of the week. And it's just super fun to go down there, and I will miss her a lot since I don't live close to her anymore. But you guys can order from her on Tuesdays and Thursdays. She goes live and she does mail. So Tuesdays and Thursdays she has everything's discounted. So if you want some discounted scrapbook paper, supplies, and whatnot, and you want to help a small business, Connie's at 2G's. G as in golf. Alright. So now what I'm going to do, and this is just what I like to do, I'm going to go around the perimeter of my chipboard. You're going to do what's comfortable for you. Some people like to cut out the little... They like to cut out triangles where the seam is going to be. I don't. It looks really nice when they do it. It's too much work for me. So this is what I'm going to do. Okay, so now we're ready to go ahead and wrap our chipboard. I do the wet glue trick in the seam. That helps prevent cracking. There it is. That's my glue. So go ahead and take your score tape off. I typically take all of it off, but you can do section by section if you like. Okay, so now I'm going to take my wet glue and I'm going to run it along a generous amount along the seam here. And I'm going to go up in here. Just okay. And then just set it. We're good. Don't overthink it. Varnish it down, get out the wrinkles. And flip it over. Now on your seam you may have a little tag piece, like, come on, that little piece. You can just cut it off, it's fine, or you can glue it down, it don't matter. It's not gonna make or break your book. Alright, again with the glue, and here. Okay, if you don't get it to be perfectly 1-inch wrap, you're not going to see the wrap. Like, this is a little shorter, but when I put my paper on my book design, you're not going to see that, so it doesn't matter. And this is why some people cut out the little triangles so they don't have any extra paper in the seam. I haven't found that I needed to do that, so don't. For right here, now what you want to do is make sure that your triangles are pushed in, and you'll see what I'm talking about when you make your book. Just so your edge is wrapped nicely. And then just same glue and close. Ah, got overhang. Okay. And I like using a towel just because I don't like getting my hands dirty, so that's the only reason why I'm using a towel, if the glue smushes out. Okay. Pressing a little bit hard so we have a nice clean side. Now if you left too much of the side on there and it's overhanging a little bit, just cut it off. It's fine. And if you forget to push them in all together, like I just did, just cut off the excess. There you go. So that way my corners are completely covered. They look great. And so far, we do have a folio that folios. Yeah, I'm excited. It worked. Like so. All right. So that's just going to be the base of what we're doing. I haven't decided if I'm going to do everything else live or on video. The only hiccup I have about doing live is that if something doesn't work and I mess up and you guys are following along with me, you're going to mess up too. So I don't know. We'll see what everyone thinks on the Facebook page, Coffee, Cake, and Crafting, or what you guys think here in the comments. But yeah. So what I just did is I cut off that piece where the seam kind of popped up. I just cut it and then I added some glue and now it's completely flat. And I'll probably do the same over here. It's just paper fibers. You tell it where you want it to go and just flatten it out. That's it. And it's completely flat. Alright guys. I think that's what I'm going to do for this video, and then the next video we'll decide on the other stuff. Thanks for watching guys. Bye.